Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I am Bianca Reese, coming with a nice, good testimony video for y'all. If you don't believe in God or if you don't think, listen, after this, you will believe. Okay, so this is probably gonna be a little long. I'm gonna try to make it not as long, but it's so many details that goes into this. So bear with me because I don't make a lot of videos, but I'm about to start. I may say like a lot. Count how many times I say like and comment it below. I'm trying not to say like as much, but yeah, it's not gonna be perfect, but this is me. This is gonna be raw, uncut, okay? So this is how God moved me from my hometown, which is Buffalo, New York, to Houston, Texas, with just myself and my 2 kids in 3 weeks. Yes, 3 weeks. Okay, so let's take it back to COVID. Okay, I worked in a hospital for 13 years. And when COVID hit, I feel like that's when everything in my life started to change, like shift. So COVID hit, I had just had my son, so he was a baby. I went back to work, and not only the stress of, okay, COVID is going on, I got this newborn baby at home, I don't know if I'm gonna get sick. I was one of the first people to get COVID in my county, working in a hospital. And I remember getting it, and at the time, this was when it first started, so people were so scared. I was so scared. So when I found out that I had it, of course they sent me home immediately. I went to work, and when they was checking people temps, they checked my temp. I think my temp was like 102. So they sent me home immediately. And then after that, I had to get tested the next day, which I got tested the next day. And then when my results came back, it was in fact positive for COVID-19. Now, I was so scared because at the beginning, so many people was dying. I was in the hospital. People was dying. And I was so scared because I'm like, okay, I got my 2 kids, I got my daughter, and I got this baby. My baby probably was like 5 months at the time. And I'm like, I got COVID. Like, I can't be around my babies. And the health department was like, no, kids has been resilient with it. And I was breastfeeding my son. And they was like, you can be around them, whatever. So, yeah, I cut my babies with me. Nobody, people was treating us like we was just contagious, which we was at the time. But the way that they was going about it, like dropping, it was a lot. So my baby, neither one of my kids ended up getting sick. I wasn't really sick with it. My body was so sore. I had a headache. But other than that, I didn't have really no complications. I think my kids was so good, especially my son, because I was breastfeeding. He just still on the boobie, and my daughter, neither one of them showed any signs, so that's a good thing. Okay, so when I went back to work, I was out of work for maybe like 3 to 4 weeks, and then when I went back to work, it just got worse far as everything. It was such a bad mental space for me, far as I was going through single parenting by myself. My kid's father wasn't really involved with our son at all. So he wasn't there. I was pretty much taking care of them by myself with the help of my mother. But my mom didn't live with me, so I had to take care of them by myself at home, on top of working over 12-hour shifts, because at the hospital it was short staffed. A lot of the employees were sick, so we had to stay dealing with death every single day. I'm seeing multiple people die without even their family being there. Their family couldn't hold their hand. We had to hold their hand. it was a lot. One of the worst, when I tell you I was going through the worst mental, I would go home and I would cry. I literally had to cry in the shower so my kids don't see me crying. It was so bad to the point where I would go home and I would have a drink every single day. It wasn't to the point where I'm getting drunk, but every single day I'm crying. I wasn't just crying because of the COVID situation, but I'm crying because I'm like, I'm stressed, and I have my children. I don't have no help. I'm getting off of working all these hour shifts and no, listen, I had to come home and be a mom still. So it got so bad to the point where I had to pull myself out of it. And I was talking to God and I was just like, I want to leave. It came to the point where I just wanted to pack my kids up in the car one day and just drive. I didn't know where I was going, but I was just gonna drive. But I didn't do that. And I was like, okay, I'm moving to Charlotte. I have family in Charlotte. And I was like, I'm just gonna move to Charlotte. So I went to Charlotte and I did not like Charlotte at all. It wasn't for me. I was just like, oh no, I can't live here. So I came back to Buffalo after my visit, and I was like, okay, no, that's not where I want to be. So a couple of years went down the line, and for my 30th birthday, I went to Houston. And when I got there, it was like God told me, welcome home. And I thought I was tripping because I'm like, welcome home. I was one of those people who said, oh, I wouldn't move to Texas. And this was years and years ago. I wouldn't move to Texas. But clearly that's where God wanted me to be, right? So I'm thinking I'm tripping, like, welcome home, whatever. So I got there, and mind you, I'm not here. I didn't go there for the partying. Of course, I went out because I was there with my two cousins. We went out, but we wasn't all at the clubs and everything. We did go out a couple of times, but it wasn't the partying that made me be like, oh, I like it here. So I was there the first time, and I'm telling y'all, this is when I fell in love with it. And I was like, I want to live here. So, okay, after that trip, I was like, I'm moving there. After that, I ended up meeting this guy, which is my cousin's cousin. I'm my cousin on her mom's side. He's my cousin on her dad's side. So we ended up, when I was here the first time, she ended up like putting me and him together for him to like show me around or whatever. But I was just texting him or whatever. We didn't see each other on that meet at all. So after that, me and him, we ended up just texting and talking, and I ended up going to see him when my kids went out of town with their dad's mother. So when they went out of town with her, I came on a flight, and then I came down to Houston to spend time with him. So we had a good time. He showed me around. Like, he's a real cool dude. Like, we really had fun. The 2 times that I came to visit him, we had fun. And I think that brought me more and more like, okay, I'm coming here more. I like it here. So after that, I set my move date. After I had my visits with the guy in Houston, at this time, I'm single. Me and him not dating. We're just cool. And I started basically focusing on myself. And focusing on myself is I was meditating every morning, working out 5 days out the week, eating healthy. Just when I tell y'all, during that time period, my mental health was great. I was getting everything that I wanted. Anything. That's why this is why when people say that when you're in a certain type of energy, stuff just come to you. Anything that I said I was, when I ended up getting my breast reduction for free on my insurance. And they approved me so quick, y'all. So quick. I ended up getting a new car. The car that I said that I wanted, I had went to the car dealership and got it that same day. I ended up getting a new apartment. All of this was just coming to me, and I'm just like, oh, like, but the type of inner, like the way that I felt amazing. I felt great. So I ended up, I was getting back healthy. I was back in shape. My goal weight was 150. I was 160. I was 10 pounds away from my goal weight, y'all. Life was great at that moment. Then, and then after, I was supposed to start moving, you know. I was like, okay, now I'm about to move to Texas. But one thing that I noticed, God will show us, okay, this is going how it's going, but let me see if you ready. I ended up meeting this guy in my hometown, and when he came around, he was the nicest guy, y'all. I felt like this was just like, I'm like, is this okay? This is the one. We was going on dates every day, if not every day, every other day. He was just so nice. He was helping me with everything. And I was like, oh, this is the man of my dreams. So I got off of what I was doing. I stopped being consistent in the gym. I stopped meditating. I stopped talking. I stopped praying. Listen, my life revolved around him. That was my mistake, first mistake. So, of course, me and him going out to eat. We eating at night. We eating cookies. We eat bacon cookies. 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We eating them. Now I'm starting to get my weight back. And during this time, our relationship was so good at first. But then one day I went through his phone, and something told me, I know it was nobody but God. He said, go through his phone. And it was just open opportunity. I went through his phone, and he was in that phone wilding out. I couldn't believe it, y'all. I felt so betrayed because I'm like, this man, you can sit around me. He was texting his baby mother. He was texting so many other females. I went on his Snapchat. He was I wasn't telling other females, oh, I wouldn't play about you. All this during the time. And I'm like, I was so betrayed because I'm like, no, like listen, it was no signs. I don't know. I couldn't believe it. So I felt so betrayed. And then after that, I had woke him up, and I'm like, yeah, you gotta leave. Like, get out my house. And I don't know. He sweet talked me, and that was I should have let him go then, but I didn't. Continued on this little cycle with him this whole time, and we ended up coming to Houston, me and him, for my cousin's birthday. And he was texting a girl out there. I mean, I found out that I seen him texting. I'm like, who is this? Like, you on this trip with me, you texting another female or whatever. Another thing, not only that, it was just a lot with that whole situation, a lot. And it got to the point where me and him eventually we got into this big, huge argument, and then he ended up packing up all his stuff and leaving. And during that time, that's when I got really close with, like, that's when I started my relationship with God, because I was so heartbroken, y'all. And that's when God was talking to me. That's when he really started to talk to me. And I went on a fast. And during the fast is when he really was talking to me. So I ended up not paying my rent for a couple of months because I wasn't going to work as much as I was supposed to. I mean, I went down to per diem because I didn't really have nobody to watch my kids. So I had to go down to per diem or I was going to lose my job. Now, at this time, my mom ended up getting sick because my mom used to watch them for me, but she got sick. Their grandmother, she had cancer. So the two people who watched my kids wasn't in the position to watch my kids. Their dad just chose not to help. Just chose not to help. He could have helped, but he chose not to. So I had to go to per diem. So at this time, income is low. I don't want to cry. My income is low. I feel like I'm losing everything. The person who I was dealing with wasn't around. He said he was gonna help me because I ended up getting eviction, and I was telling him like, listen, I need you to go out and make money because he was door dashing under my name. So he like, oh, I'm gonna help you. So he went out and he made the money that I needed him to make. And do you not know that's when he decided, we had got into an argument and he decided to leave. And I really think that he decided to leave because he just didn't want to give me the $2,000 something that he said that he would give me. So he left. He took the money with him and left. Money that he made in my name. So now I'm like, okay, I got this court. I'm thinking like before court, I was just gonna pay it off and that was gonna be that because this is what he told me. And that's one thing that I learned, to not put my trust in anybody else but myself. So I ended up getting the eviction papers and I thought he was gonna help me. He didn't. I went to court, and the following day, and basically the lawyer that I had said that it's a program and they would pay off my arrears and rent up to $5,000. I didn't owe that much. I think I owe like $2,000 or something like that. So she was like, yeah, it's gonna be paid, don't worry about it. By your next court date, it'll be paid off, so it wouldn't matter. So yeah, so the day before my next court date, she called me. It was at like 6 something at night, and she was like, I don't know what happened. She said, but the program that I told you will pay your rent suddenly just stopped taking people, stop accepting applications. They ended it abruptly. We don't know what happened because it's people who rent that they said that they can't even pay now. She was like, so yeah. She was like, I don't know. I said, listen, I told her, I said, I just don't want an eviction. I said, I will move out the house. I just don't want an eviction. And then I was telling God, I was talking to God. I said, God, I can't have an eviction. So our court date was the next day, and basically me and the places that I was staying just agreed to me moving out. I had 30 days to move out without an eviction. It's I forgot what they call it, but it's basically we both agreed that I would move out. I had 30 days. Honestly, I really think that that was just God because he was moving me. He did not want me to be there anymore. So I moved out of there, but during that time, I was supposed to move to Houston. So I got approved for a townhome, and I was moving to Houston September 15th. I had to move out of there by August 31st. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm approved for this house. I was so happy. I'm like, it wasn't where I wanted to be. The apartment that I was moving in, the reviews was bad on it, but I was like, I just have to make it work for the year and then move elsewhere. It wasn't really where I wanted to be, but I'm like, due to everything that's going on, I need to get in where I fit in. So I got approved for that. They said I would get the lease. They said the lease was going to be done the following week. And yeah, they never gave a lease. I was going through a realtor and she was like, I don't know what's going on. She said they're not giving a lease. So I ended up, they they just didn't give me the lease. Whatever happened, happened. Maybe they felt like they just didn't. I don't know. Y'all, I was so heartbroken. Because I was only supposed to be at my mom's house for 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into almost a year. I moved back in with my mom September 1st, and I ended up moving out July 31st of this year. So during that time, I was really depressed. I'm gaining more weight. I'm crying every night. I ended up dealing back with the person who left me. I'm dealing with him. Every day I'm doing everything with him. I just lost myself. I cried a lot because I'm like, why is my life like this? Me and my mom, I love my mom to death, but me and my mom do better living apart. So it was stressful. Her asked me, when you getting out? When you getting out? And you know, my kids is there. My kids like, Mom, why did we move out of our house if we wasn't moving to Texas? So I just felt like a failure. It was just so much going on. I'm just eating, gaining weight, to the point where now I am 200 pounds. I've never been 200 pounds a day in my life ever. This is the heaviest I ever been. I just was going through it. And the one night, I was crying, and then I opened up YouTube, and it was this girl, and her name is Natija, and she was just talking. She helped me through this whole thing because her videos is so positive. I'm gonna try to add her name on the screen when I edit this so y'all can go and check her out. But she was basically like, yeah, you're still moving. You're moving to Texas. And I'm like, once she said that, I'm like, what? I knew it was nobody but God, so that gave me motivation. So over the months, he's communicating with me through numbers. It was just like so many numbers, all the numbers. It was 1111, 111, 333, 777, 555, 444. Listen, everything is like everything was a number. The Texas license plates, just think anything, it'll be on the store. I remember the one time I was at my aunt's house, and when I tell you 5 cars rolled by, each car had a Texas plate. I swear to God, I couldn't believe it. I'm looking up. I said, God, I hear you. I understand. Now, during this time, he was always saying that he was going to move me swiftly. Swiftly. Now, I'm to the point where now I don't have nothing. I don't know how I'm moving. No money, no credit. How am I moving? I ended up getting a job at a group home, and I started July 7th of 2025. And it wasn't the job for me at all. It was really pretty much the manager, and they didn't pay enough. But I'm like, this not it. I'm used to making more money, and this just the way that I'm being treated, the way that things is going. I don't want to be here. But I feel like that job was just for me to get some type of income coming in, because all the good jobs that I know that I was overqualified for, I wasn't getting them. And I'm like, this is so weird. But I know that it was nobody but God, because he like, you don't need those jobs, because he probably felt like if you get those jobs, you're not going to do what I told you to do. I ended up coming to Houston July 1st. And it was like I came here with my kids, because I said before we move there, I want my kids to see Houston, because they never been, but I've been multiple times. So I ended up taking them, and we came here. My kids loved it, and I'm like, well, do y'all see yourself living here? And they like, yeah. Now during this time, God was talking to me, but during this time I went to go look at apartments. I'm thinking, okay, well, I was gonna get approved before I left. I didn't even apply for any of the apartments that I looked at. And when I came back to Buffalo, the apartment, it just kept calling me. And I answered, and she was like, yeah. She was like, I want to show you the apartments. And I was like, well, I'm not in Houston anymore. I was like, but if you could FaceTime me and show me. So we ended up FaceTiming, and she showed me the apartments. Beautiful, newly built. I would be the first person living in here. It was nice. It was so nice. And it was everything. I remember I said that I wanted white cabinets. I wanted stainless steel appliances. It was listen, y'all. Mind you, I didn't even see this apartment. I didn't come down here. I didn't look at this apartment, nothing. The person called my phone twice. I was supposed to come and see this one. I didn't. And then when I got back to Buffalo, she ended up calling my phone again. And that's when I did the virtual. She FaceTimed me and showed me around the house. And I'm like, I like it. I love it. It's only 2 bedrooms, but we gonna make it work. So they had a special where you just apply. I think it was like maybe like $125 to apply, and I did it. Now, when she called me after I applied, she was like, yeah, it's saying that you owe a apartment, my old address, like $1,000 something. I said I don't owe them anything. I moved the person who owned the house, he ended up selling it to another company. I told him that I was moving. I never seen the company because when they took ownership, I was moving out. So I don't know, I guess they I never seen it on my credit, or I don't know, maybe it's a renter thing. I need to look into that so I can get that handled, because I don't owe them anything. But I'm like, I don't owe them. And she was like, well, we just got to confirm with them, and then you should be all set to go. And I'm like, okay. So, listen, the morning of July 10th, I wrote down on a paper before I went to work, because I would get up at 5 a.m. to be to work at 6. I wrote down, I am getting approved for this apartment today, July 10th. Listen. So I remember going to work, and when I went to work, I was taught, because the manager did something, she just always did too much. So I was aggravated, and I was just fussing about it. And then this butterfly like caught my attention, and I never see butterflies. So I'm like, oh my God, this butterfly is so pretty. I got a video of the butterfly, y'all. And you know, butterflies symbolize new beginnings, and also the number 10. Look up the number 10, y'all. So when I got off of work, I ended up calling the apartment, and she was like, yeah, I tried to call those places, she said, but it's saying either it's sold or I'm just not getting nothing from them. So she was like, yeah, you're approved. She was like, but it's approval because of the, say you owe $1,000 something, and we don't know, we can't get in contact with them. You would just have to pay a double security deposit. So it does, instead of just paying $350, I had to pay $700. I said, okay, so I'm approved? She said, yes, you're approved. And I'm like, I'm so happy. Like, yes, July 10th, I got approved for this apartment, y'all. July 10th. So then she ended up calling me back that same day, like, is the apartment that you applied for is handicap accessible? She was like, is it okay that you go up to the 2nd floor? And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But that apartment number has 10 in it. And the number, I can't even say the whole number, but the number, it has 10. And I'm like, okay, God, you're talking. Mind y'all, this whole time that he said that he was going to prove me, he said it was going to be swiftly. Because during that, it was like swiftly, swiftly, swiftly. And I'm like, there's nothing swift about this. I've been at my mom's house for months. This has been going on for years. Like, what is so swift? This is why timing is everything. When he wants you to go, he gonna go. And it was swift. I got approved on July 10th and I moved in August 1st. I drove on July 30th. I thought that the person, because I was still dealing with him, was going to drive here with me. No, he said that he couldn't drive because he didn't have the money, which he didn't really need no money because I was paying for the gas and I was going to also pay for his flight back to Buffalo. But he didn't move me and I was so scared, y'all. But I'm like, you know what? I got to do this. I packed up my Mazda CX-5 with as much as I could put in there. I put my 2 kids in there and we got on that road. I drove from 4 a.m. and I got to Houston the following day. During that time, driving on the road, I did not feel alone, y'all. I did not feel alone. I know that it was God. Everybody told me, you're not going to be able to do that right, especially with just yourself and the kids. You're not going to be able to do the right. I did that right. I drove that 22 hours with my kids and we had a good time, y'all. I didn't feel like it was just me and them. Like, I know God was with us. Even when I turned on this road, it was so pitch black and I kept going, but then something told me to turn back around because I got off the road and I guess the road was closed. I don't know. And it was pitch black. I couldn't see nothing. And I kept going, but then it was just like, turn around. I turned around, got back off, and got back on the expressway that I was supposed to go. Even during that, I know God was with me. It wasn't a bad drive. God is just really amazing. And when I got here and got the keys to my place, it's everything I could ever want. It's beautiful. It's newly built. Nobody ever lived here. Stainless steel appliances. It's a nice area. We got a pool here. We got a gym here for me and my kids. This is for us to start here. This is beautiful. And I didn't have the credentials for this. Is it credentials? And the predicament that I'm in right now with my credit score, barely making no type of income, this was nobody but God. Even, I forgot to add, even the day before I was supposed to leave to come here, the leasing agent called me like, so the job that you used is based in New York. She said, is it remote? And I was like, no. And she was like, well, we can't use that income. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you been tell me that? I said, I moved there tomorrow. I said, I took my kids out of school. My kids is registered to school here. Everything. I did everything. Their doctors are, listen, I can't. She was like, well, we'll probably have to just put you in a 1-bedroom with the other income that you gave me because we can't use the income from the job. I'm like, a 1-bedroom? I can't live in a 1-bedroom. I mean, if I had to, I would just have to do it because I was already scheduled to be here. I enrolled my kids in school here. I had to come here. But my aunt has a business here, a trucking business, so she ended up writing me an offer letter for me to have the more income, and it worked. And yeah, so I'm here, but I will say that God is truly amazing, and I know that this season of my life I know that he's doing exactly what he said that he was going to do, and I'm trusting, and I'm just growing as a person. I'm getting back into shape. I'm starting to work out. I'm just healing myself, healing my past trauma. I'm going to do a healing series on my channel about everything that happened and just share my life, share this experience, share this journey, just share my growth. That's why I'm recording now, because I want to be able to look back on all this stuff and be like, dang, that's where I was at, but look where I'm at now. So yes, that's the story of how God is amazing and how he moved me from Buffalo to Houston in 3 weeks. And he did it fast, and it was nobody but him, because without him, none of this would have been possible. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video. It's gonna be a lot of videos. So join this family. Let's join this journey. I want to go on this journey with y'all. I want y'all to come on this journey with me. And words of encouragement, anything will be greatly appreciated, because I'm here in Houston by myself with my 2 kids. And it's a lot to get used to, but I know it's all going to come together and everything happens how it's supposed to happen. And God is truly amazing. And yeah.